Hello, hello, my Justice Warriors. What is up? It's Monday. It's March 4th. It's almost 6 p.m. So it's a very unique time for me to be coming onto a live, is it not? Let's see. I think my shirt is okay. My background is okay. My lighting's okay. My hair, got my water, my pencil. We're good to go. Thank you for being here with me. If you are, right now I'm all alone, but I trust that some folks might be coming in and or catch me on the replay if you like. I always appreciate that. So the one thing that's bothering me about the set is it looks like the house is sliding that way. And I promise you it's not. That is so freaking funny. And I had not noticed that until just now. Let's see. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it. So when you make the slightest adjustment, it just makes everything go all cattywampus. And then you got your left is right, right is left crap. So it makes it even harder. And Mark Molina, dude, what's up? I have your hat. I admit, I confess that I did not get it into the mail today, but that's because I was, tweaking the studio, the lighting, and now I'm like obsessing on it. I'm trying to get it all perfect. So yeah, I didn't have any time to futz with it this weekend because this is driving me nuts because I was doing a bunch of training, for that whole yoga certification thing. I'm almost a yoga instructor, you guys. How come it's not working the way I want it to? There, I think. Okay, there. Hello, no biggie, Mark says. Well, good evening to you, sir. Is it 70 degrees where you are? Because it is freaking hot today. It's just whack-a-doodle. Anyway, let's get focused. Let's quit focusing on the lights and all that dumb stuff. Wow, fast track toga. Oh, the yoga toga. CB, hello. It's almost a year-long program, Mark. I've been in it for 6 months already. Can you believe that? Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That's the thing, is that time flies. So it's not really a fast track. It's just that time flies. So here we are 6 months in and counting. So I have my mic. It's plugged in. Mark, tell me that you can't hear me, okay? So that I know that you can. Yes, 80 degrees in Oklahoma. So Mark, and hello, CB. I'm going to say hello again. And Mark saying hello to CB. Are you familiar with the freaking fires there on the Panhandle that Brush Junkie covered a couple days ago? I know a bunch of people have been covering them, but it's looking allegedly like maybe some more of the Lahaina fire, Chile fire stuff. Snowing again here, CB. I forget where you are. If you want to remind me. So what do you think about the fires there in Texas? Because I've seen some freaky stuff on the YouTube. I'll put some links in my description, but if it's true, if it's not just a conspiracy theory, it's like what I've seen is that the smart city has been mapped out in the area where the fire happened, and that the smart city plan is for 2045, which freaks me out because, that's bizarre. It's been dry and hot. Northern California, Nevada, CB. Oh my goodness. Thank you for reminding me that that's where you are. Because, yeah, you guys have been having mass snow dumpage. Good for the snow, for the ski industry, but not so good for like Interstate 80 getting closed down. Wow. I thought it was, what is it that you're saying here? I thought it was sus due to timing. The thing in Texas, it's pretty freaky. I mean, if it's actually a thing going on that they're just going to burn places that they want to put smart cities, and it just seems too obvious, like to have it on paper, to have it all documented that you're talking about making this a smart city in 20 years, and then suddenly the whole thing goes up in flames, and one planned smart city location after another planned smart city location. It makes my stomach turn. Hey, Fred Field, nice to see you. Is it in the 70s there in Chicago too? Nothing much is out there. It's farms and ranch, right? And a lot of cows. So it's just so strange. It's so strange. So let's start talking about the Rust case, you guys, because that was what I was doing all day, was listening to the Rust trial while I was futzing about in my new studio space. So I would imagine that not many of my viewers have the time or inclination to watch the trial. I actually enjoy watching the trial live because I'm crazy. So let me go ahead and do my disclaimer so that, I'm all covering my bases. So please hit that like button if you'd be so kind. And make sure that you're still subscribed. If you are subscribed, let's put it over here in the dark corner. See how weird that is? How it like fades out? I'm thinking there's something wrong with this stupid laptop. So subscribe, share, turn on your notification bell to ring a ding ding. And yeah, it's so funky. Anyway, Bex is here. Nice to see you, everybody. Yeah, we're just getting going. My brain's just getting going. Listening while I cook dinner. I know it's taken me so long to get onto my live that I'm starting to get hungry for dinner already. The trial I kept thinking it was going to wrap up, and then I'm like, well, I'll just go on live before the trial wraps up. But I'm glad that I watched the whole thing today because, I missed parts of it, but I watched almost the whole thing today, but right up until the end, because at the end, you guys, and everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and learn something and be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. So at the end of the trial today, Ms. Hannah Gutierrez was standing with her hands behind her back as if her hands were in handcuffs. I'm not messing with you. I'm being for real. That's what I saw with my eyes. Maybe I was hallucinating, but I was just thinking, wow, she's probably getting the feeling that she's going to jail. So I thought she was only looking at max 18 months, but I saw somewhere else that she could be looking at 36 months. And I mentioned last week that I had some compassion for her. And let me just say, at this point in time, I've lost all of my compassion for her because she's a little freaking snot. Wow. I had compassion for her because I thought, wow, she's young and dumb and she's being scapegoated. Like they're trying to put it all on her. And all of those things are true. She is relatively young and she is relatively dumb. And they are trying to hang the entire thing on her instead of the star of the show. Did you guys see the video that came out over the weekend? I think it just came out over the weekend. It's so hard to keep up with what's what, right? The video of Mr. Baldwin flopping around in the dirt like a freaking fish, like a 2-year-old having a tantrum, and he's filming and he's waving his gun around and he's pointing it at the crew. And this is like 11 days, I think, before he pointed his gun at Helena Hutchins and shot her in the armpit. I'm thinking that event of him rolling around on the ground, waving his gun around and using it as a pointer and yelling at people, quick, quick, again. I'm thinking that event might have been part of what led up to everybody walking off the set. So it's my understanding that the majority of the crew walked off the set and that they just came back onto the set that morning of, I think it was a Thursday, October 21st, 2021, and that they were trying to get set up, they were trying to get rolling, and they had not even filmed a single second yet when the horrible tragedy happened. So let me just talk for a minute about this horrible tragedy overall, because I've been watching so much of the trial, bits and pieces, and as much in its entirety as I can. And then looking at interviews, body cam footage from the police with going out to the scene of the crime. And like I said, I'll put a bunch of links in the description. But the body cam footage of this guy, Seth, I wrote down his name so I wouldn't forget his last name, because Seth Kinney is not a name that we've heard much about, but we're hearing him give testimony today. And he is kind of the top dog of all the props and such. And he's been an armorer. And he said something in one of his conversations with one of the detectives that just blew my mind. He said that there was nobody on the set that was happy about this lady being unalived. Well, I would think that that's like a given. It blew my mind. Why is he saying that? There's nobody on the set that's happy about her being unalived. I mean, he was essentially trying to say, be easy on us because it's not like we wanted this to happen. It's so effing crazy. So I have a window open. Let me know if the outside noise bothers you guys, because I hear some people banging around. There's a couple of birds, but I live in a pretty quiet neighborhood. So unless it bothers you, I'll just leave it like that. Oh, CB's been watching. Awesome. Yee Squirrels is here. I noticed that also. Odd. Oh, the thing with the arms behind the back, like she was getting cuffed. It reminded me of Chris Watts doing this when they're over at Neighbor Nate's, and it's like, put your hands up behind your head, you're being cuffed, right? They're all at fault, but AB more so. So who are we talking about? So we're talking about the Rust set and Hannah Gutierrez Reed in particular, the armorer. So CB, I just highlighted your comment and I read it like this: they're all at fault but AB. And I was laughing because, yeah, that's how he's trying to play it. The man that was holding the gun, that fired the gun, that denies firing the gun, although we know that the gun can't fire unless somebody fires it. But anyway, that's not what you wrote, CB. You wrote, they are all at fault, but Alec Baldwin more so. Yeah, 100%. It's on every single individual to practice gun safety. And yeah, the armorer wasn't there. And yeah, the director or the assistant director, Dave, handed him the gun. But now that they're going into all the events leading up to that day, and the cartridges that were getting mixed up. So Seth Kinney, in one of his conversations, and this is in the drip drop video that he dropped earlier today, Seth Kinney is saying basically that he's figured out that it all goes back to this 19-year-old person. And he's telling this to the detective on the phone. So, of course, it's being recorded on her body cam. That's how we're hearing it. So he realizes that it's all that he can connect the dots back to this 19-year-old male. And he's being very evasive, like he's trying to protect this 19-year-old male. But it sounds like what he's alluding to is that 19-year-old male is one of the people that was doing the target practicing. Did you get that, you guys, if you saw that part of Drip Drop's video from today. My mind is just blown. You'll have to excuse me. I'm a little bit brain scrambled because I'm very, very caught up in this case, and it's killing me. Like, this woman is deceased. Everybody's trying to pass the buck. The negligence is absolutely gross. The substance abuse is absolutely gross. They covered that some today too. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of people not giving a damn about other people's lives. And like I said on Friday, that kind of just being so flippant about it can really catch up with people when they have some moments of clarity in the future and they realize that they're responsible for the loss of someone else's life. And that's when people become self-injurious and contemplate or attempt to take themselves out because they realize how horrible they are. So the woman who brought the bullet from home is being charged. Well, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, I think, is the one that you're referring to. And yeah, it seems that there was some live rounds that she brought from home, but everything is really sketchy. And there's boxes upon boxes upon boxes of bullets. So because she's the armorer, she's going to be charged for sure because it comes back to her in the end. However, there were a lot of people, like the whole set was just unprofessional and sloppy, and people were allowing Mr. Baldwin to do things like flop around in the dirt on the ground, waving his gun around and pointing it at them. Like, I'm surprised that Joel Sousa and Helena Hutchins didn't say, dude, what the F are you doing? But I think that Hannah Gutierrez Reed was there when he was doing that. And it was really on her to say, Alec, hand the gun over. You're being crazy. But one of the things they talked about in the trial today, and also on the body cam footage from Crime Circus, is that there's a lot of bullying on the set. And that these older dudes, Alec and his hombres, that they're not going to take orders from a girl, a young woman that's barely of legal age. I mean, she was maybe 22, maybe 23 at the time, but I think more like 22, if even that. And why he's hiring these inexperienced young people with that aren't even like part of the union, to me, speaks volumes. Like, he doesn't want people that have a lot of experience and that have a backbone and are going to challenge him and say, what are you talking about? Like, you're acting all crazy. Shan, today's court was great. Some other guy brought live ammo from the 1883 set. Well, I know what Shan's talking about, though, the box of ammo, and I will certainly put that link in the description. When Hannah Gutierrez is being interviewed by the police and she's got the lawyer next to her, and they tell her about the other box of bullets, and she throws her hands up in the air and drops the F-bomb. And yeah, she's just so shameful or shameless. I mean, she's all worried about her career and herself. And, you know, nobody, except there are a couple that act like they care about Helena. And it's just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how people's stories have changed, and even the people that have told the truth have changed their stories. So it's hard to hang your hat on truth that they're telling if they didn't start out telling the truth. Some of that can be attributed to trauma that you're having trouble remembering and recounting, but some of that is just shady. Like the girl, the prop master, Sarah, who was throwing away some of the shell casings. Plus, you don't throw those things away. So let me get caught up with you guys. I missed it. I was sleuthing Reno 911 calls and codes while mapping addresses out. Had my hip put back into place. Good thing. It's always good to keep that in place. Working on getting Fee's work permit while he studies for his driving permit. Oh, those teenage years. I got one of them. Killing me. I've been a little busy. Yeah, Shan, I totally get it. And hello, Anna Bean. She said, but a B more so. Right. I was misreading it and thinking, like, because that's how he's trying to spin it. But yeah. And he seems to care the least, in my opinion. But really, it's all about money. I mean, he just is trying to save money on how much he's going to get sued for and how much he's going to have to settle for by shirking his responsibility and trying to scapegoat it onto other people. In my opinion, it's all about the money. And to remind everyone where we left off on Friday, that this movie was a tax shelter, allegedly, for Alec Baldwin and his hombres, his co-producers. Shan, I'm glad you got your hip back into place. That must have hurt. I couldn't think or do more than sit or lay the past few days. Sorry, I haven't made it to the post office to send off shirts, but I know people understand, nor have I been able to make shirts. Totally. You guys, it's been 2 months since I injured my toe, and it's a lot better, but yeah, it still hurts a little bit. Hoping to be top notch by Wednesday. Low budget movie, cutting corners any possible way, and no responsibility from anyone. But CB, remember on Friday, I don't know if you were there or if you caught it, that Helena Hutchins cost allegedly twice as much as any other cinematographer. That word messed up coming out of my mouth. So the low budget cutting corners is just an excuse. You need to focus on getting better. We all understand get well soon. Low budget equals high risk, in my opinion. Right. And to be trying to cut corners on a Western is just ridiculous. And Mr. Baldwin is just ridiculous. He reminds me of a little boy with a fascination with guns. And he's just like bang, 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 bang. I mean, is there even really much acting or a script? It seems like it all revolves around the guns. And yeah, I know that there is an actual script, and that the actual script is like parallel to what actually happened, right? Like the grandkid is in trouble for accidentally shooting someone or something like that. Oh my goodness. And you guys have probably seen all the footage of all the people handling the guns improperly, and even handing a gun to the 14-year-old improperly. It's just nuts. He probably intimidated Hannah. He's a pompous ass. Look how he talked to his daughter. LOL. Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, look at how he talked to George Stephanopoulos, you know? I mean, he has no respect for anyone. And it's my feeling people like him think that they own everyone that they're paying. And even beyond that, those types of people think they own everybody, whether they're paying them or not, but especially the ones that they're paying. And Hannah was a very low price tag. Something that I saw over the weekend said she was only getting paid $7,000 for the movie. And what they started filming the movie, I think, on October 4th. So they were roughly 2.5 weeks in on the 21st. And I think that the whole movie was supposed to be done in a month. So yeah, they're talking about how stressful it is and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I know that live sets are stressful, but yeah. Oh, let's see. So yeah, a lot of bullying is typical on sets, according to this Seth guy. Doesn't he also have SA allegations against him as well. I'm not so sure about that, Shan. Let me know what you guys know about that. I'm not familiar with it. I like Billy Baldwin. The rest are creeps, in my opinion. So I misspoke. I was thinking that it was Billy Baldwin's daughter that's married to Justin Bieber, and it's not. It's actually Stephen Baldwin's daughter that's married to Justin Bieber. So Billy Baldwin has 3 kids. He's the one who's married to China Phillips. Alec has 7 kids with Hillary, and then 1 child with Kim Basinger or Bassinger. I'm not sure how she likes her name to be said. And then Daniel Baldwin is the other brother, and I'm not sure if he has kids. Mr. B is anti-guns. Okay, so yes, you guys, again, remember what I had discovered last week, and I shared in a couple of my videos that the father of the Baldwins was a rifle shooting coach for 28 years at Amity High School. Is that right? Amityville High School. Kenny B, oh my goodness, it's so nice to see you. Just popping in to say hi. Lovely to see you, dude. And how are things going? I know you've had a rough patch. Mark says he's back. 1092nd reason not to deal with actors. Exactly. And then, everybody there in Santa Fe having to deal with them. Just absolute pigs. And she was set up to fail. Hannah was? Yeah. I mean, I think they selected her so that they could just basically bulldoze her and do whatever the heck they wanted. Seth is sus, in my opinion. So this guy, Seth Kinney, is very articulate and seems like quite a gentleman, but there's something about him that reminds me a lot of SF Investigates. Don't you think, Mark? He's got that smarmy thing going. And he has a lot of experience on sets, and he thinks he's like Mr. Cool because he's worked on a bunch of real popular ones lately. Hold on. So, yeah, sorry about that. So Seth Kinney is definitely suspicious. He definitely, I think, shoulders some of the responsibility, but he's trying to put it on, that's how it always goes. The low man on the totem pole. You know how they say the shite rolls downhill, and they always try to put the responsibility on the newbies and then protect themselves. It's gross. Absolutely gross. Hope you are well. I'm out of the loop still. Hopefully get back into the nitty gritty at the end of this month. Yeah, Kenny. I mean, real life is important. It's okay. You don't need to worry about it. And yeah, don't worry about what you've missed. Just jump in wherever you are when you're ready, and then people can catch you up. I'm sure everyone would be more than happy to do that. Seth and Sarah sus AF. Yeah. Sarah was one that I was duped by. Absolutely. She's sketchy too. So Friday court was really funny because Hannah called Sarah a see you next Tuesday type of person thing. See you next Tuesday. So they literally kept using that word in court, you guys. And then when they played it back on the news, they had to bleep it out. But I thought it was funny AF. So Hannah called Sarah that, and Sarah was Hannah's supervisor for the props, but not for the armory stuff. The armory stuff, I think she's kind of her own supervisor. Like the armorer is kind of the catch-all. They're the safety net. They're the one that everybody is depending on to keep the place safe, because you've got all these freaking guns. Like, I think they had about 30 guns out there and hundreds of rounds. And you're supposed to treat every single round as if it's a live round until you can prove to yourself that it's not. Okay? That's how you're supposed to do it. It's just terrible. So terrible. Good to see everyone. Yes, good comparison. I have asked my sis Gil to have words with Kylie. Oh, Gil is as nosy as me too. That's so sweet. I know, my mom passed away 2 years ago. So a few months before Kylie. And I found some comfort in her being there on the other side for Kylie. I really did. Annie Ruler, hello, just playing dominoes, can't chat. Oh, that's cute. And you're welcome, Kenny. Sucks. Alex should have his trial first and he have better lawyers. Hannah could have had a template to copy. Yeah, so Alex's trial starts in July. So they just refiled the charges against him a couple of months ago. Charges had been dropped last year, but then when all the FBI ballistics came in, they refiled the charges. So, yeah. It's so hard for me to listen to him try to talk his way out of things, because he's a fast talker. He's a smooth talker. He's like scammy. And I hate to admit it, but those types are actually pretty good at talking their way out of crap. And it's hideous. It's heinous. It's disgusting. They care about no one but themselves. It's all about number one. Yeah, the lawyer. So Hannah's lawyer is not the best, in my opinion. Just doesn't have a whole lot of integrity. I mean, he's doing all right on the job, but he knows that they're guilty. And so it's my impression that he knows that he's being a scumbag and a slime ball to represent them. And it's just a despicable position to be in. And it makes me sick that people will do that for any amount of money. It's just not worth it. Nico Mingo says, I'm here. Hi there. Hello, hello. Yeah, if anyone will, then Gil will. We have no date for her funeral. Things here in the UK are getting terrible. It's unacceptable. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kenny. I don't know what is getting in the way of that. And I'm not sure what you mean about things are getting terrible. If she goes down, AB should also, period. Hannah's ticked because he got off once already. Well, she's kind of a little bit more than kind of sleazy. She was using rugs. She was using party favors. She was asking people to hide her party favors. Today, one of the people that testified was, I forget what her job title was, but she said that she's basically like the set mom. And she was describing how nobody wanted to leave Hannah alone that night in her hotel room. And so she was called to sit with her for a little bit. And she didn't seem to like her at all. And Hannah passed her a baggie with some white powder in it at the end of her hanging out in her room with her. And she's a recovering addict and she was pissed AF. So yeah, the whole thing is just so dirty. It's so dirty. And a woman's life was lost in the mix of these people just being the scumbags that they are. And they don't care. They don't care. You can't control Alex, though. Yeah, nobody can. So I was saying about his kids, and so how him and Hilaria had another baby in addition to the 6 that they already had. They had one a little bit over a year ago, I think, through a surrogate. So now they're with 7. So he has 8 kids. And I'm sure he's quite the super dad, right? And Holly Weird. Yeah, Shan, hope you are well. I'm missing all of the gossips in chat. Tool, Slime Ball. Hey, Justice Chat, listening from work. Hey, seeing red flags. Nice to see you. And there is a 3-week wait for cremations. Our government cuts don't help. Oh, yuck. Kenny, I'm so sorry. That is unsettling, to say the least. Yeah, a lot of sympathy from the chat. Sending you prayers and hugs, brother. One day at a time. Passing is a pain-free place in heaven. Anna Bean, thank you. It's not good for her kids. It's hard enough as it is for them. Kenny, so sorry about your sister. Yeah. Okay, so what else did I want to say about the Rust trial before we can then switch gears into Kylie? Something I wanted to share with you guys is that when somebody reminds you of someone, like, I don't know if I might remind you of someone, but I think I told you way back, if you might remember, that Helena Hutchins reminds me of my first college roommate, who actually, last I was in touch with her, she was working as a cinematographer in Hollywood. So that's one of the reasons why this case resonates so strongly for me, is that Helena reminds me of my dear college roommate, who I love dearly. And when somebody reminds you of somebody, it's a very meaningful predicament to be in, and it will keep coming up in your conscious or unconscious mind. So I thought of it to share with you guys that was something that I learned in graduate school, that I never really thought it was very meaningful. Like, if somebody reminds you of somebody, so what? But that was something that we covered in school that I felt like was helpful. And so I wanted to pass that on to you guys. So really pay attention when someone reminds you of someone. So this guy, Seth Kinney, also works on active shooter type of training as a volunteer, because he's such a good guy. But I just thought how funny that he's bringing that up, because in my mind it immediately backfired, and he was calling Alec Baldwin an active shooter in my mind. So for that, I can thank him. So let's see, what else do I have in my notes here about the man baby flopping like a fish in the dirt, flippity flopping with his stories. And Ninja dropped a great one today. I'm sure you guys, many of you have seen it. I've been trying to stay current with all of the Kylie stuff, but it's been a busy yoga weekend, so I haven't caught everything. Ninja's video was awesome, and she was covering some of the early reports from Grizzly True Crime, which is great because, Grizzly just takes the information sort of like Paula Plunder, like directly from the horse's mouth, and just gives it to you to think about. And yeah, just the whole thing about like the scammy focusing on like pieces of the car. Like if you find a bumper, if you find the license plate, if you find the car, not so much if you find Kylie, but if you find her car. That I think is very telling. Absolutely. Kenny, are you serious? Jazz, you remind me of my history teacher. If you're serious, that's great. That's cute. Connected. Welcome, bro. I'm here anytime. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Well, I'm going to try to get some sleep. Thank you all for your kind words. Take care and hopefully catch up. Things are better. Good night, Kenny. Thank you so much for coming into my chat. A few days ago, I was concerned about you because I hadn't seen you in anyone's chat for a while. And I brought it up, I think, in Shan's chat, and Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, the honey badger, said that you had just showed up in her chat the night before, and I was so relieved. So I know that it's a really rough time. My heart breaks for you. I mean, like I said, it's been 2 years since my mother passed, and in some ways it gets easier and in some ways it doesn't, right? So it's just, I like to say stupid freaking mortality. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Seriously, it's really rough. So prayers for you, Kenny. Sending you much love and light. Jay Karts Arts! Wow, dude! You guys, are you familiar with this channel? He is so awesome. He was doing a live last night and he was just celebrating his 25,000 subs. And so I was in his chat and it was fun. It was really fun being in your chat. And I'm just so happy to see you here. Thank you. That's super sweet. So Jay Karts Arts, I think the channel is mostly like paranormal stuff, but maybe it's like horror movie stuff and paranormal. But he's the one that I've been talking about the last week or two with his reactions to Christina Randall talking about the Watts case. And he's just really sharp and unique. And I feel like this whole YouTube thing is an art form. I've told you guys that again and again. And at the same time, I feel like very few content creators treat it as such. Jay Karts Arts is one like Drip Drop that I feel like is a true artist in this genre. And I really appreciate that. So it's like video therapy, isn't it? And I was asking him if he'd heard of Kylie Rodney's case because I thought we could use a mind like his on our Kylie Rodney case, right? Wouldn't that be fantastic? I've asked Drip Drop too, and he's expressed some interest. But yeah, let's talk more about Kylie because that poor girl, what a disgusting setup. So when she went missing, and this is one of the things that Ninja focused on in her video, and one of these people that said that he wasn't even at the party, but that he heard the party was wild and that a girl went missing, and that was like early in the morning on Saturday. You wouldn't use that type of language, just like you wouldn't use the type of language like, you know, we lost our friend because they're missing. Like, you don't know that somebody is missing the next morning. You don't know that they're missing until it's been a couple of days. I mean, it's bizarre language. So I think these people have given themselves away left and right. And my mind went to that one guy who put up that, was it like a TikTok video or Instagram video where he was saying that the FBI came knocking on his door to look in his basement to see if Kylie was in there. And I just thought, how disgusting for these people to joke so flippantly about a missing teenage girl. Absolutely gross. Let's see. That's so sweet of you, Jazz. Take care and chat soon, hopefully, God willing. Yeah, Kenny. And I'm looking forward to your next video because you are so good at putting your videos together. Anna Bean says, death is so final and hard to get through the pain and loss. And absolutely, it is. It is. It's hard to remember like that they're in a better place, you know. It's really rough. Haha, it is a horror movie, paranormal, true crime, and nerdy channel. Thank you for the kind words. Yes, you are very welcome. I like the nerdy part too, because, you know, I kind of like to be a nerd myself. I have all these silly things in my set that I like to tell you guys that when I was little, and watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, it was like my fantasy to live where the little train took you to on the episodes that you were lucky enough to go over to the castle and talk to the king and the queen. And I feel like I'm living the dream with all of this goofy stuff. And oh, I put my gong in here. So yeah, we can do like the 70s gong show too. And I've been trying to get the lights better for all these amazing globes. So I'm going to keep at it. But yeah, totally dorky with like bunny rabbits and mice and tiny things. Where's my little tiny oh, and then I got my cool stuff like this guy, Brando baby. This, can you see? Is it too far away and too low down? My tiny, tiny tube of paint kind of looks like a tube of toothpaste. And my tiny, tiny Eiffel Tower painting that's actually like a pillbox. It's like the tiniest painting in the world. It's like 1 inch by 1.5 inches. And I think it's, well, maybe it's stamped on there, but it looks like it's painted. Anyway, you guys know what a silly monkey I am with all my silly mice and the tiny Tabasco bottle and another mouse. And what else? There's more stuff that doesn't fit in the frame, but that's okay because I do get carried away with it. So every once in a while, I try to strip it down and, go minimalist and focus on the content again, or focus on jewelry again, one or the other. I got this new necklace. I'm sure you guys have been checking it out. It's green pearls. Okay. So yes, CB says, sounds cool, Jay Carts. I'll check you out, LOL. Yeah, especially check out his stuff with his reacting to Christina Randall, because I think he did a great job with that. I think he really aced it. So you guys, I feel so torn with Kylie's case. Like sometimes I feel, honestly, I hate to say this, sometimes I feel like I need a break from it. And I despise saying that. I despise admitting it. And at the same time, I know that it's okay. And I know that it's good to be honest with ourselves and honest with each other. So at the same time, it can be good to kind of set it down and back off and come back to it with fresh eyes. So, I mean, her case was so whack from the beginning. Absolutely. And all it did was continue to get more and more whack. And then the whole thing with Trinity Backus, 3 months into Kylie's case, Trinity Backus has like a very, very similar situation. And then the whole thing with her boyfriend and his girlfriend from the year prior, Paisley Woodard. And what are the chances of a 16 or 17-year-old kid having 2 redheaded girlfriends that passed away almost a year to the day of each other? And the fact that they look so much alike, it's so bizarre. And then his mother, Summer Fowler, being one of the people that like officiated Kylie Rodney's celebration of life. That's just mind-boggling. That's just so weird. It just kills me. That, and then the whole thing with Christopher Stanio, with Trinity Backus's stepdad. So her stepdad and her mom were divorced, and then her mom moved back in with him. I think when they were divorced that he remarried and even had another kid with the next wife. I could be incorrect about that. I've tried checking my notes and checking on the internet. And as you guys know, a lot of my notes were in my laptops that crashed and burned. And I think a lot of this information has been scrubbed off the internet. So a lot of information that I found on the internet, I can't find it anymore. Like, for instance, Christopher Stanio's marriage after Trinity's mom. So her mother, Andrea, was living with Chris Stagno when Trinity passed away. And Chris Stagno was a deputy for Nevada County Sheriff's Department for many years. And he was one of the people volunteering or paid, I would think paid, but searching for Kylie Rodney. So when people were telling me that in my chat last year, I literally thought, there's just no way. Like, And so I had to look it up myself. I had to find the receipts myself to prove to myself that this was accurate and not rumor. And it's not on the internet anymore, you guys. It used to be. So in my mind, when things get scrubbed from the internet, it's even more suspicious. Like in the Watts case with Detective DA Rourke and his wife, Kimberly, taking that video down that they put up on her channel of him basically trash talking anybody who gives a crap about the Watts case. And it was bad enough that he was talking smack. It was bad enough that they put that on the internet, but I'm glad that they did. But the fact that they took it down, to me, is very, very telling. Extremely telling. And thank goodness Paula Plunder got her video back up that had clips of it, and the Behind Criminal Minds and Zawoki. So Missed in Things, Zawoki, Paula Plunder, and Behind Criminal Minds, those are the only 4 channels that I know of, other than my own, talking about that whole shenanigans. And that type of shenanigans, to me, makes somebody look really guilty. So, and then the whole thing with how he met his wife, like, that just makes me sick. So I put up 2 Watts posts this morning, I think. One was The Gangsta of Love. It's D.A. Rourke and his wife, Kimberly, looking like Bonnie and Clyde. And I just thought, how apropos. And then the other one was Bella and Cece. And it's like, I'm sure it's all staged by Shanann, of course. Bella's acting like she's the teacher with a chalkboard and a ruler or a pointer stick. And it's like Big Sis 101 is what it says on the chalkboard. And Cece seems to be melting down. It's cute. But the timestamp on it was June 10th. And I took out the calendar and I looked, and it was exactly 9 weeks to the day before those little babies were extinguished. And it just breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart. And for D.A. Rourke to criticize people that care about those kids and that care about dangerous individuals roaming around in our general population without any consequences for their potential involvement in this horrific crime, that guy needs a freaking lobotomy or shock therapy or something. I mean, there's something severely wrong with him, in my professional opinion. So seriously, you guys, for him to marry someone that he met in the way that he met Kimberly, his wife, shows me that he's got no freaking moral compass. He's got no ethics. He's got no control over himself. It's despicable. It's absolutely despicable. And then the way he mishandled the Watts case and let NK off scot-free. Again, the deal that they made with her on, I think it was August 15th at 5:30 in the afternoon, was when it was first documented that she was being given like protected witness status. That becomes null and void when you lie to the investigators. We all know that. We all know that. It's just, it just makes my head spin. just got kicked. OMG. CB, you got kicked off of the live again. Is it because I'm talking about Alec, or is it because I'm talking about Rourke? And Anna Bean says, Jay Cart's arts will have to check out your channel. So many things in Kylie Rodney case have been removed. And the 100%. Yeah. Oh, it gets so depressing sometimes, doesn't it? Or it just seems like hopeless, like we're never going to find justice for Kylie. And it's not even so much the end goal that's so meaningful to me. It's the process. It's giving it your best shot. So, of course, I want justice for Kylie, but the fighting for the justice for Kylie, to me, is where it's at. So, it's despicable. It's despicable to have to, like, watchdog law enforcement and watchdog the courts. It's so refreshing to see people doing their jobs well and to see people giving a damn, but we don't see a lot of that. We really don't. So let's see. We are just at 55 minutes and I'm getting thirsty. What do you guys want to talk about before we wrap up? I'm going to look at my notes here. Yeah. Alec is such a tyrant, and he just takes no responsibility for his actions. I mean, he tried to say like he's the low man on the totem pole as just an actor, like that he just does what he's told. Those are words of his in the interview with Stephanopoulos. But again, we can be grateful that he did that interview with Stephanopoulos 2 years ago when he was told not to talk about the case and he went ahead and talked about it. Again, it shows his lack of respect for authority, and everything that he said can and will be used against him in a court of law. That Stephanopoulos interview is going to be all over his trial in July. Absolutely. So let me do a little more note checking here. Yeah, the yoga has been so challenging, you guys, and it's been so rewarding. So I want to recommend again to anybody that's interested just to check it out, do some stretches. I did a couple of goofy videos with some yoga on my channel a few weeks ago. I'll probably do another one or two. I at least want to show you guys my whole routine as I'm getting there. I thought that I had the whole routine, but then I realized in class that we're still adding things. So we're adding some of the really challenging, difficult binds and twists. The twists I love. They're my favorite. They're not that challenging to me. They're just very relaxing. But what's more important is just that you take care of yourself, that you eat right, that you get your rest, that you stay hydrated, and whatever exercise it is that floats your boat. So I'm going to continue to try to remind myself and everybody just to take the best care of ourselves that we can, and to know that nobody else knows what you need the way you know what you need. So when you're doing, like, let's say a yoga class, or I'm preaching on my little soapbox about how you should do this or you should do that, know that these are just suggestions and that you're the person who is in charge of yourself and what you do with your life. And, you know, if you want to just party hardy and ignore the things that I recommend, that's your prerogative. And more power to you in a way. I mean, do what you love, follow your bliss. But I know from when I used to be like that, that it catches up with you, and that it's not a very satisfying lifestyle. So, just cherishing the time that we have. I mean, we're talking about true crime. We're talking about these people that have lost their lives in the blink of an eye at the hands of dark, evil MFs, and then had justice denied. It's bad enough that they lost their lives, and life is not fair. But all we can do is try to make the most of what we do have each and every day. So I don't like to get on my soapbox, and I haven't been on it in a while. So here I find myself. That Kylie Rodney has a family around the world that agrees that she did not drive herself into that lake and want answers. Thank you all. And it's just so crazy that her family isn't pushing that. It's so crazy. It's that whole Truckanese mentality, the whole Donner Party mentality. And man, are they getting their karma this weekend with the 7 feet of snow that have dumped up there. Thank you so much, Anna. Jake Cart's Art says, I actually just posted a Chris Watts video. Oh, good. And at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I have a reaction to Top 6 Ghosts video coming. Oh, cool. I'm excited that you did another Watts video. I've really enjoyed your Watts content. And yeah, I think the Watts case got a big breath of life breathed back into it with that idiot Rourke and his wife. If you haven't heard of her channel, Jake Hart Arts, it's called Surviving the Survivor's Guide to True Crime. I was like, Surviving the Survivor. No, that's something else. Survivor's Guide to True Crime. And the only video she had was the interview with her husband. And so they took that down. And I don't think they have any other videos on the YouTube channel. But Zawoki, I know you follow him. So he talked about it. And then Paula Plunder, Behind Criminal Minds, and this smaller channel called Mist and Things that I adore her. I think she's awesome. But all of them spoke about the video that DA Rourke and his wife and her YouTube content creator dropped. And it was nuts. I mean, he literally admitted that he didn't look at the evidence in the Watts case because he was suffering from prosecutorial PTSD, which is not a thing. Secondary PTSD is a thing, but prosecutorial misconduct is the only word that comes after prosecutorial. So for him to have made that video and put it on YouTube, I think is prosecutorial misconduct. And he admitted his own prosecutorial, I can barely say the word, he admitted his own misconduct in the video, stating that he didn't go out to the site and he didn't look at the photographs because he was an emotional train wreck, which the man sounds like an emotional train wreck to me in general. But for him to admit that, I'm so grateful that he admitted it, because it can be the beginning of the end of his career, you guys. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it is the beginning of the end of his career. And he just doesn't have what it takes to do that job. And then to try to put it on everybody else in the world being less than him because we don't have law degrees and we're not district attorneys, so we don't know what the F we're talking about. I'm sorry, but a lot of us have common sense, and a lot of us have a lot of court experience and law enforcement experience and that kind of thing. So, my own career, I worked in the courts and testified frequently. And yeah, you don't even have to have ever been up close to a court case to have common sense and to know BS when you see BS. But I did want to clarify something that I said on Friday that was really funny, which I was talking about my spouse being a first responder and an EMT. And then I was like, wait, I think he's an EMT. It was hilarious. I was like having a brain fart. And then I asked him, because I was like, you are, aren't you? Like, I remember when he was doing the training, and it was a lot. And he runs with the squad, he volunteers, but I thought maybe he's not an EMT, maybe he's just a firefighter and a medic, or maybe he's like some other thing. But I want to say that a medic is always an EMT, but an EMT is not always a medic, if that makes sense. So anyway, it just gets so confusing. It's hard to keep up with all this stuff. I was relieved that he is an EMT and that I wasn't imagining things, because I was like, oh man, that'd be terrible if I had mistaken that. But like I said, he did the training like 12 years ago, somewhere around there, when I was pregnant with the last child, and it was very rigorous. And then I think he did the firefighting training more recently than that. But all of his professional and volunteer work has helped me learn a lot to enhance my interest in true crime. So, I had a heavy interest in true crime before he ever got into his first responder professions. Prior to becoming law enforcement, he was a biologist for the state of Washington for the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And he was trying to train to be like a ranger, like a forest ranger. And the more law enforcement experience he got under his belt, the more he realized that he had this passion for it. And he got into it much later in life than most people, like his late 30s. And he's really good at it. So he's been doing it for something like 15 years or so. And it's phenomenal to watch him grow over time. And, there's so much nuance in law enforcement that, like, first you have to study the law, you have to know all the laws, you have to know how to interpret the laws, you have to know how to apply the laws. And a lot of law enforcement that I've seen doesn't know the laws, doesn't know how to apply the laws, or doesn't care, doesn't know or doesn't care. And either way, it's your job to know. So whether it's incompetence or corruption is almost immaterial. It's your job to know these things. So, the law enforcement in our culture has so much power and so much ability to abuse that power. It's frightening. And we've seen a lot of that in the last few years. It's something that people have been aware of for as long as there's been law enforcement, but it's been more in the public eye with social media and with, what happened with George Floyd, and the fact that everybody was off work and had the ability to watch what had happened. I mean, that was crazy. And then, the backlash for law enforcement. Law enforcement have a difficult job, but what I've learned is that dealing with the corruption in the law enforcement is probably the most difficult part of the job. Even more difficult than dealing with the criminal thugs is dealing with the criminal thugs that are camouflaging themselves as the good guys. We can't have it. We absolutely can't have it. So that's what inspires me on the path that I'm on. And I get really inspired by you guys. I'm just thrilled to see all of my friends here. I miss you guys so much over the weekends when I can't make a video. I try to make a video over the weekends when I can, but like this weekend, I wanted to so bad. I almost did on Saturday night, even though I had class all day Saturday and all day Sunday. So yeah, I had to make one today before the day was over. It's getting late-ish for me for my videos. My brain melts at the end of the day, so it's 7:05. I better sign off because turning into a pumpkin kind of thing. Oh, and I have my Gabby Petito pumpkin, as I call it. So I didn't know if you can see it over here in the dark side of the dark side of the moon, the dark side of the screen. So kicked again, CB. Just shared the live to the Discord. Hopefully you can get some subs. Oh, J Cart Art, you are so sweet. Thank you, dear. That is so nice. Now, if you watch my videos from last week where I'm talking about you, I hope that it doesn't offend you that I call you a kid, because I'm 56. So, you look like you're maybe 30. And to me, that's like a baby. So it's funny, but I hope that it's not offensive, because that's like the last thing I mean. It's like, it's good to be young. It's good to be, young and intuitive and bright and youthful. Those are all good things. Age is just a number, and there's, I think, people that have old souls, and you seem like one of those for sure. So, and I love your hair. I love your like crazy bedhead. And yeah, anyway, you guys check him out. Check out J Cart Arts. He's funny. He's got a sense of humor, which, me. I think that's really important. I try to be funny, but sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I don't like focus too much of my attention on it, but sometimes I can do it. Sometimes I can be funny. But anyway, I better wrap up. My brain's disintegrating. So that is just too funny, CB, that you got kicked again. And yeah, it was really cute on J Cart's Arts channel last night on his live. He was going to sign off and somebody donated $1. So he said he'd stay on another 20 minutes. I thought that was hilarious. And I don't know if you guys can donate like super stickers and stuff like that now that I'm monetized. I'm not asking you to, and I don't want you to. It was just something that I thought of last night watching J Cart's Arts. I was like, I'm not even sure that that's all up and running, since it took so long to get the whole monetization thing. But the last time I checked, it was over $20. So I'm getting there. So, seeing red flags, you're so sweet. Love your heart, Justice. 4:05 here, still at work. So you're on the West Coast time frame. Yeah, you guys. Oh, I miss being young. Anna Bean. This is one of my favorite quotes, is that youth is wasted on the young, right? Isn't that the quote? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to show the thumb again. Please hit that like button. Make sure you're still subscribed. Oh, I just dropped my sign, but I have this other one. I have this giant one. If I bend over to try to pick up this little one, who knows if I might fall right out of my chair. There. Subscribe, snare, notify, or share, subscribe, turn on your notification bell to ring. I like my goofy homemade signs. I know I should get like professional ones done, but you know me. I like to be all artsy fartsy. Northern California, seeing red flags. Are you in that snow, or are you further away from the Sierra Nevadas? Nowhere to give a super sticker. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, it says that I'm monetized. It's racked me up to some bucks. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I'll figure it out. And thanks for letting me know, because like I said, I'm not asking anybody to do that at all. I was just curious about it. Farther away, more east. Well, Northern California, more east. Oh, because I mean, Sierra Nevada is right there on the border of Nevada. So I don't know if you're north of Truckee, like in Paradise, or if you're south. And yeah, I mean, California, it's like, if it's not Southern California, then it's called Northern California, right? San Francisco. There you go. Oh, it's more East Bay. See, I didn't see the Bay part. I'm like, what? Okay. Yeah, San Francisco. I love San Francisco. Oh my God. It's like impossible not to leave your heart there under Truckee. So, yeah. All right, you guys. I keep saying I'm going to sign off, so I'm going to do it. Peace out. Sending you light and love. Have a great evening. No any more poop. What? I don't know what that's supposed to mean, seeing red flags. So don't forget to drink your water, eat your protein, eat your veggies, get your exercise, stretch, relax, be kind, be humble. Like that's the big one, being humble. And that's the one thing I think, if Mr. Baldwin wanted a little advice, I would say, dude, show some humility. A little bit goes a long way. Not good anymore because of the poo. Oh, I've heard about that. Seeing red flags. You guys, they're talking about human fecal matter in the streets in San Francisco. It's always been that way because there's always been a large percentage of homelessness there. But I guess it's gotten a lot worse even. I mean, I remember that when I was a little kid in the early 70s around the Haight-Ashbury area and seeing a man do that between a couple of cars. And I was just like, oh my God. So that was the early 70s. And yeah, it's only gotten worse since then. And here we are, what, like 50 years later? I'm not that old, but yes, I guess I am. Anyway, peace out, you guys. Light and love. Hopefully, tomorrow we'll get on a lot earlier in the day. Yeah, it is so gross. It's so gross. It's so sad because San Francisco has so much to offer. Where's that button? End stream. All right, you guys. It's a terrible thing to end on. Let's talk about puppies and rainbows and unicorns. And yeah, we need to talk about the unicorn Lucky Charms crap in the Watts case, you guys. That's some freaking crazy. Let's pick up there on the next one where we leave off. All right. Have a great night. Love and light.